You are being controlled. And the worst part is, most of it happens so quietly that you mistake it for normal life. One rude comment ruins your mood for hours. One unanswered message suddenly makes you question your value. A tiny inconvenience happens in the morning and somehow your entire day feels poisoned. That is not bad luck. That is emotional dependency. And the scary part? Most people stay trapped in that cycle forever. They wake up reactive, spend the whole day emotionally hijacked by random people, and go to sleep mentally exhausted without realizing they handed away their peace piece by piece. But there is a different type of person walking around this world. Calm under pressure, hard to manipulate, focused when everyone else loses control. They are not emotionless robots. They simply learned a few psychological habits that completely change the way they respond to life. And once you understand these habits, people lose the ability to control your emotions so easily. By the end of this video, you're going to see daily situations completely differently. The first shift is powerful because it destroys one of the biggest addictions humans have, the addiction to being right. Most people do not enter conversations to understand. They enter conversations to win. The moment somebody disagrees with them, their brain instantly switches into defense mode. Suddenly, the conversation is no longer about truth or understanding. It becomes a battle for ego survival. You can literally watch it happen in real time. Their tone changes, their body tightens, they stop listening and start preparing counterattacks in their head. And the funny thing is, even when they win the argument, nothing actually improves. The relationship becomes colder, the tension grows, and both people walk away frustrated. Mentally strong people approach disagreement differently. They understand that reacting emotionally gives away power immediately. So instead of trying to dominate the conversation, they become curious. When somebody says something they disagree with, they do not instantly attack the opinion. They study it. They ask calm questions. Why do you see it that way? What experience made you believe that? What makes that important to you? These questions completely change the energy of the conversation. Because the moment people stop feeling attacked, they stop defending themselves. Their walls drop, they relax. And ironically, that is the moment real influence becomes possible. Most people never realize this. You cannot force somebody into changing their mind. Pressure creates resistance. Aggression creates distance. But curiosity creates openness. The calm person in the room usually has the most influence because they are not emotionally desperate to prove themselves. They are emotionally grounded enough to listen. And that alone makes them stand out immediately in a world where everybody is trying to talk over each other. The second shift is equally life-changing. They stop treating temporary moments like permanent realities. This is where most people mentally destroy themselves without even noticing. Something small goes wrong, and suddenly their mind creates a dramatic story around it. One mistake at work becomes, I am terrible at everything. One rejection becomes, nobody will ever choose me. One awkward moment becomes, everyone thinks I'm embarrassing. The human brain loves exaggeration. It takes one small emotional moment and stretches it across your entire identity. But psychologically resilient people train themselves to zoom out before reacting emotionally. Instead of drowning inside the moment, they look at the bigger picture. They understand that one bad day does not define an entire life. One failure is not a final destination. It is feedback, information, data, nothing more. Imagine somebody fails an important exam. Most people instantly panic and attack themselves mentally. They call themselves lazy, stupid, incapable. But someone with emotional discipline steps back and analyzes the situation differently. Maybe their sleep schedule was terrible. Maybe their study strategy was ineffective. Maybe stress affected their concentration. Instead of turning the situation into self-hatred, they turn it into problem solving. That single mindset shift changes everything. The same thing happens with rejection. Emotionally reactive people treat rejection like proof that they are not enough. Mentally strong people treat it like direction. They understand that not every opportunity, person, or situation is meant for them. And instead of collapsing emotionally, they adjust and move forward. That ability alone saves enormous amounts of mental energy. Because here is the truth nobody talks about. Suffering becomes much heavier when your imagination keeps adding extra weight to it. The event itself is often manageable. It is the story you attach to the event that destroys your peace. Strong minds know how to separate the two. Another thing emotionally intelligent people understand is that not every emotion deserves immediate action. Just because you feel anger does not mean you need to express it instantly. Just because you feel insecure does not mean your thoughts are accurate. Emotions are signals, not commands. And people who master this stop becoming slaves to every temporary feeling passing through their minds. This is why some people stay calm in situations where others completely lose control. Uh, they are not calmer because life is easier for them. They are calmer because they trained themselves not to emotionally overreact to every little thing happening around them. They create space between the event and their interpretation of the event, and inside that space, they protect their peace. Most people never develop this skill because modern life rewards instant reactions, instant opinions, instant outrage, instant emotional responses. But people with real inner control move differently. They slow down before reacting, they observe before judging, they think before speaking. And over time, that emotional discipline gives them an almost unfair advantage in life because while everybody else is drowning in emotional chaos, they remain clear enough to make smart decisions. And honestly, that might be one of the rarest forms of power left in the modern world. The third shift might be the one that changes your life the fastest because it completely transforms where your energy goes. Mentally strong people become extremely selective about what deserves space inside their mind. Most people never do this. They wake up already stressed about things they cannot control. They worry about how other people see them. They replay conversations from 3 days ago. They create imaginary future disasters in their head that may never even happen. And slowly, without noticing it, they burn through their mental energy before the real day even begins. Think about how much time people waste emotionally reacting to things outside their control. The weather ruins their mood. Somebody's cold behavior ruins their confidence. A delayed message ruins their peace. One negative opinion ruins their entire week. It is exhausting. And the worst part is that none of this worrying actually solves anything. Anxiety loves to disguise itself as preparation, but most of the time it is just mental noise repeating itself. Psychologically resilient people follow a much simpler rule. If they cannot directly influence something, they refuse to let it consume them emotionally. That does not mean they stop caring about life. It means they stop leaking energy into problems they cannot solve. Instead, they redirect all that attention toward action. You cannot control whether somebody misunderstands you, but you can control how clearly and honestly you communicate. You cannot control unexpected problems appearing in life, but you can control how prepared and adaptable you become. You cannot force people to respect you, but you can control your standards, your discipline, and the way you carry yourself every day. This mindset creates something powerful: emotional stability. Because when your focus stays on your own actions instead of uncontrollable variables, your mind becomes quieter, sharper, less chaotic. You stop feeling helpless because your attention is finally connected to things you can actually improve. The fourth shift is something most people completely underestimate. They understand the power of silence. Modern life has trained people to fear quiet moments. The second a conversation becomes silent for even 2 seconds, people rush to fill the gap. They start rambling, oversharing, interrupting, or speaking without thinking simply because silence feels uncomfortable. But emotionally intelligent people use silence differently. They understand that calm pauses create presence. When someone asks them a difficult question, they do not rush to answer immediately. They pause, they breathe, they think carefully before speaking, and strangely enough, this instantly changes how people perceive them. Calmness signals confidence. Thoughtful pauses signal self-control. People naturally pay more attention to someone who speaks with intention instead of emotional urgency. There is also another hidden advantage to silence. It reveals people. Most individuals expose everything when given enough space to talk. Their insecurities, frustrations, motivations, and intentions slowly appear on their own. That is why emotionally intelligent people spend more time observing than reacting. They listen deeply. They notice patterns. While everybody else is busy trying to be heard, they are quietly understanding the room. And this does not only apply to conversations. Silence is powerful internally too. Some people cannot sit alone with their thoughts for even a few minutes. They constantly distract themselves with noise, scrolling, entertainment, or endless stimulation because quietness forces them to confront themselves. But mentally disciplined people learn how to be comfortable in silence. They do not constantly need external noise to escape their own mind. And that creates a level of emotional independence most people never reach. The fifth and final shift is the one that ties everything together. They pause before reacting. This single habit separates emotionally controlled people from emotionally controlled by everything people. Most reactions in life are automatic. Somebody says something rude, and anger immediately takes over. Something stressful happens, and panic instantly floods the mind. Plans fail, and frustration explodes without thinking. People react so quickly that they never even question whether the reaction is useful. But highly self-aware individuals train themselves to interrupt this automatic process. When tension appears, they create a small mental pause before responding. And inside that pause, something powerful happens. Choice. Instead of asking, how do I react emotionally, they ask, what response actually helps this situation? That question changes everything, because emotional reactions are usually short-term relief with long-term consequences. Calm responses are uncomfortable in the moment, but powerful over time. When somebody insults them, they do not instantly lose control. They understand that other people's behavior often reflects internal struggles the world cannot see. When life becomes stressful, they do not immediately collapse mentally. They focus on the next practical step instead of emotionally spiraling. They stop treating every inconvenience like an emergency. And this is not weakness. It is emotional discipline. There is a huge difference between suppressing emotions and controlling them. Mentally strong people still feel anger, frustration, disappointment, and stress. They simply refuse to let those emotions make decisions for them. That is why calm people often seem so powerful in difficult situations. While everyone else reacts impulsively, they remain steady enough to think clearly. And in life, clarity is a massive advantage. Emotional chaos makes people predictable. Calmness makes people dangerous in the best possible way, focused, strategic, and difficult to manipulate. The truth is, building psychological strength does not require perfect genetics, a perfect childhood, or some secret hidden formula. It starts with awareness. Awareness of your reactions, awareness of your emotional habits, awareness of how much energy you waste on things that do not deserve control over your mind. And the good news is, you do not need to master all 5 shifts overnight. That is where most people fail. Real transformation happens through repetition, not intensity. Pick one habit. Maybe it is pausing before reacting. Maybe it is learning to stay calm during disagreements. Maybe it is focusing only on what you can control. Practice that one shift consistently for the next week and watch how differently you start feeling mentally. Because once you stop reacting to everything, people lose the ability to control your peace so easily. Your mind becomes clearer, your energy becomes protected, and for the first time in a long time, your emotions start working for you instead of against you. Wenn du willst, kann ich jetzt auch die komplette deutsche Version von Part 1 im natürlichen, emotionalen Alltagsstil schreiben.